Hi guys, welcome back to my colourful country life. Today I am super excited to be showing you Enchanted Earth, which is the new book by Melpomeni Chatzipanagiotou, and I have been dying for this book release since it was first announced. Nature is one of my very favourite things to colour. You guys know I love colouring water and ocean themed pages. Circle of Life was Melpomeni's very first colouring book. And it's a book that I really love. I've always said I could colour every page in that book. I just need a few extra hours in the day to colour. I think we all need an extra few hours in the day to colour, actually. Wouldn't that be nice? Nature Mandalas was the second book. And as much as I liked it, it didn't wow me like Circle of Life did. Circle of Life is up there as one of my favourite books, which I need to colour in a lot more than I actually have. And I have seen some sneak peeks of this book, so I do have some high hopes. And I have had a quick look through it, and I think it may just be my favourite book by Melpomeni so far. And on that note, the book is 25 by 25 centimetres square, just like her first two books. The cover has a full matte finish, and this is the UK edition that I've got here. The US edition is just a little bit different on the cover. The title is in green and in a different font. Obviously, the US edition also doesn't have a U in colouring. Also, part of the head here is uncoloured on the US cover, with the rest of the illustration fully coloured in. And as you can see with the UK edition, we've just got little bits here and there that are uncoloured scattered around. So a big thank you to LOM Art for sending me this copy as a pre-release. Now, let's talk about the price because I am shook. So before I started filming, I pulled up the book on Amazon and Book Depository, as I always do, just to check the prices. And can you guys believe the UK edition is for sale for $53.16. That's Australian dollars. I'm curious to see if you buy it from Book Depository from the UK, is it still quite high, the price? So is it a shipping problem? We have a distribution centre in Melbourne from Book Depository, so I'm not understanding the $53.16 when the US edition is showing up there for $22.29. And it's just, the US is just as far away as the UK in terms of Australia. So the recommended retail price as well is $24.99. So if you're in Australia and you want to buy this book, head to Amazon. It's up there on Amazon Australia for $18, which is an awesome price. I think Booktopia has it for, off the top of my head, it was about it was around the $24 mark, around the normal recommended retail price. So go to Amazon if you want the a better deal, basically, the $18 as opposed to $53.16 from Book Depository. Anyway, so on the back we have another partially coloured illustration, which is also inside the book. And we also have this little blurb here, which says, "Experience our extraordinary earth as never before. From a lush woodland emerging from the pages of a book to desert sands trickling through an hourglass, scenes from nature combine with otherworldly elements to create awe-inspiring illustrations. Bring them to life with colour." So let's now take a look inside. And we have our title page here, which is the same picture from the front cover. There is also a full-sized version of this picture inside the book to cover as well. I kind of wish her face wasn't blacked out. It would have been nice to add in maybe a galaxy effect. So this is our nameplate double page. This is very cool, really intricate. We're moving from land to sea. The ocean is spilling out from this planet. We've got a galaxy with different constellations. This page will look awesome once it's coloured. Okay, next we have our publisher information here, and this illustration reminds me of a mirror. Over here we have another blurb which I'll read out to you. It says, "Enter an enchanted world. Relax and colour this collection of striking and original illustrations that explore worlds within worlds." It is giving me worlds within worlds vibes. Discover a secret riverside scene under a canopy of mushrooms. The head of a woman formed from flowers. The head of a woman formed from flowers. That's giving me Headless Horseman vibes. And an owl carrying rugged mountains on its wings. The images magically and inventively combine elements from natural and fantasy worlds. These spellbinding scenes are waiting to be brought to life with colour. It's given me everything I could possibly want in one book. So this border is actually the very same as this one here. We've just got some added details here with what I think are possibly icicles. We've got a book, a quill and ink, a telescope and an anchor. I like how Melpomeni does like these little mini illustrations, which you can colour like a little bit by little bit. So you can colour that little picture one day and then come back and do this next little bit. And by the end of it, it all forms one bigger picture. Okay, so now we're starting the colouring section with a bang. I think this is possibly my favourite page in the book. It reminds me of the Tree of Life. Now with the pages being quite intricate and the black line art is fairly thick, I do think watercolours and gel pens, they usually work really well in Melpomeni's books, and they help make the elements pop and stand out a bit more. But you may have noticed that the paper is different. It is thinner than usual. The pages are thankfully single-sided, and I'll just move that across. Hopefully you can see that better. So they are single-sided, so you can pop something in between them, bit of paper or cardboard in between, as to protect the next colouring page. And there's nothing on the back for you to ruin if it does go through. I'll talk more about that when we get to the page that I have started colouring though. But as a rule, test your art supplies in the back of the book or one of the maybe illustrator pages or something that you don't mind being a bit of a sacrificial lamb, so in case it doesn't work out as planned. Now this looks like the Arctic inside of a tent. We've got some narwhals and some fish flying across a galaxy sky, and then we've got all these crystals along the bottom. This would be fun to colour completely in shades of blue. We have a skull and horns which are made into a floral design. The skull has plants and I think a desert and some sand dunes, a planet or a moon in the sky, which looks like it's reflecting onto the water, or maybe that's actually also sand. And I wonder if this is smoke or water coming out of his nostrils and also his ears too. This is cute. We've got a map of the world with all sorts of little animals on the little land masses. Here's Australia, here's the kangaroo. This would be fun to try and get an aged effect on. So maybe with tea bags or even just distress inks. This is a bathtub full of tropical fish. This one's fantastic. For me, this needs to be coloured in really rich, vibrant, tropical colours. We've got all this beautiful coral that could be really nice and colourful. Or another way you could look at it is keep it as if it's a pattern on the bathtub and do it all in one shade. So I don't know if you want maybe a blue bathtub, or try and keep it white or grey or silver, maybe even gold, and then have the colour come up in the wave. There's a couple of different ways you can colour these pages. Now this is a little reminiscent of some of the Circle of Life pictures. We have an open book which is also doubling as an island because you can see all the water around the outside, but it opens up into a forest with a little compass in the middle. Now these little circles around the place, I'm assuming they're sort of bubbles coming up out of this water. Okay, what do we have here? So, you know why I think I like this book so much? It is giving me Worlds Within Worlds vibes. It is making me remember Kirby's book. It's as if Melpomeni has done her own version of that theme. And the more you look at it, the more fun things you see. And also so many elements that can be interpreted so differently. So this, I mean, is it a bridge or is it the entrance to a cave? Maybe it's a cave entrance and this is the inside of the cave looking out into the ocean. This is interesting. The vase is an ecosystem unto itself. I'm thinking I try to use a limited palette for the vase, so possibly all green shades, so it resembles more of a vase rather than an ecosystem, and then color the flowers all tropical. So this would just look like a pattern on the vase, maybe. So these are little seasonal scenes that are inside little birds' nests. We've got spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Here we have the full version of the cover image. I think I'd use pinks, purples, and blues for this page. This one looks like Aladdin's magic carpet just sailing through the skies here. It does look very windy. We've got leaves blowing everywhere, very autumnal. So I'm thinking browns, yellows, oranges for this page. Maybe even some purples. All right, so we have a volcanic eruption down here and then the lava is turning into sheet music. So picture this, guys. The lava is starting out red, and then as it moves through the different scenes, we make it change colour so it becomes like a rainbow, but clearly we'll be starting with a red or an orange even, and go through all the rainbow colours. I think that'll be pretty, something different. Oh, this is the border from the publishing pages. Yeah. Yep, I've even got the quill and ink, the telescope's got all the little details. We just have this little extra illustration in the center. So it looks like this is sort of indoors, looking out a little porthole, a little window to the penguins in the sky. Looks like the penguins are sitting in some clouds. But at the same time, it sort of reminds me of a campfire. We have water spurting out. This one is a desert scene. Can you imagine a sunset with beautiful oranges, reds and yellows? The books on the water are a similar idea to a page in Circle of Life, if I remember correctly. But lots of primary colours on here, the red, the yellow, the blue, will make this stand out. And we've got another planet gushing water down into this landscape. These flowers are cool. They kind of look like little bells. Then we've got this random keyboard placed at the bottom of the illustration. Maybe these are actually meant to be bells to add to a musical theme. I'm not quite sure. Kind of just seems a little bit out of place having a random keyboard. This one is pretty cool. We have the campsite in the center of the tree, which is actually split open, and the leaves are forming the shape of a wolf's face. I really like this page. So this is the page I decided to colour, and it looks a little bit like a postage stamp. We have water spilling out of the flower to create this little world on the shell of the snail. Now, I used Neocolor 2s for the background. I did use lots of layers and lots of water. No more than I usually do, but still I usually do use quite a bit of water. And as you can see, it hasn't bled through at all. There's no damage to the back of the page. Although they are one-sided, so it wouldn't really be a huge deal if there was. There are a few spots that feel a little bit rough, but that's where I've used most of the water and added most of the layers sort of around the edges. And you can see the edge here where the paper has started to sort of tear. I'll lift it up a little bit closer, see if you can see that little bit there. Just there. It hasn't gone through to the back though. So considering the paper is thinner than usual, it holds up really well under pressure. And if you can see here, have I got one of her books handy? Yes, I do. And I'll quickly show you the difference. I don't know if you can hear or see the difference. I don't know if you can ever tell the difference on camera when I do these things. But I mentioned in my Kirby review that the paper was different in that book too. It does feel very similar to this one. So Alien Worlds and Enchanted Earth, same publisher. I think they've used the same paper and it is thinner. Everything has taken okay. I've used Prismacolor pencils and the Neocolor. So it hasn't really affected, the thinner paper hasn't really affected my colouring so far. Just be a little bit careful, I guess, when using water mediums on your page or using markers, because it could possibly go through to the other side. Always do a test page. This harp is so pretty. I love this page. I can see this page coloured in pastels, spring tones, very fresh looking, with a nice sparkly gold for the harp as well. Oh, this one is very mystical looking. We have a quill with an eyeball in the centre, and the base of the quill here is made out of bones. The ink also has these magical fumes coming out the bottom, so this could be a fun page for Halloween. These little black lines going around the eyeball actually make me think of bats for some reason. They're clearly not in the shape of a bat, but for some reason I'm thinking of a bat. They're probably just patterns from the feathers. All right, we've got a desert scene here inside a cactus. Cacti in a cactus, I'm calling it. We've got a large moon in the background. Would have been great if the wolf was howling to the moon, I think. Lots of greens and blues and silvers for this page is how I picture it. Now this page I think is fantastic. Giraffes are gorgeous animals, and this little savannah scene is set inside a paw print, and it actually looks a little bit like a lion's paw maybe. I think I'd use lots of ochre colours on this page, a beautiful sunset background, lots of orangey yellows, browns, reds. Now, this page is perfect for autumn, which it technically now is in Australia. Our seasons start on the first of the month here, or it seems to be the general consensus when the first of the month comes, okay, autumn's here, summer's here, whatever season we're in. I don't know if it's just to simplify it in some way, but most people don't follow the equinoxes or the solstices. I mean, I do, but it doesn't seem to be very common here. Anyway, we have this cozy little cottage night scene, which is set inside a pumpkin. We've got some wheat, we've got some corn, some acorns, a pomegranate, another pomegranate, maybe some grapes possibly. So this page could be fun with some reds and purples and oranges. This one's really pretty. So we've got a butterfly, and the bottom half of her wings, or his wings, its wings, are full with florals, and the top half is a woodsy scene. I think I'd make this really bright and really colourful. You can always do really bright colours, pinks, blues, oranges, yellows down the bottom, and then a completely different colour palette for the top half if you wanted to. Oh, okay, this is the glow page. Now, I saw this listed for sale as the cover image of the book quite a while ago. It was on QBD Books, which is an Australian seller, Australian and New Zealand seller, I think. I actually really like that as the cover image. I'll see if I can find a photo and pop it up for you to see. And now, it is a reputable site, and I first saw the image before seeing the current actual cover image, so I don't know if it was just a working cover. But it looks really pretty, and I wonder if you order it from QBD Books, whether you're going to get this cover or this cover. But I love how the land mass here is covered in little florals. We got some beautiful looking, try to say both those words at the same time, beautiful looking tropical fish through the rest of the globe. Oops. Okay, so this page is perfect for Halloween. It's actually a really interesting illustration. The more you look at it, it's a fireplace, which looks like it's situated outdoors. We've got two black cats, and we've got this little scene inside the top of the fireplace. And this reminds me of Hansel and Gretel. It looks like this little person is meandering through the forest towards a witch's gingerbread house. And in my head, I'm picturing the witch standing here, from my point of view, watching all of this unfold by looking into her fireplace, but from inside the witch's cottage, the one that's in the picture. Does that make sense? Okay, now I love our ocean themed page. These rays of light look a little bit like the outside of this shell. I think this might be the first time we've seen Melpomeni draw a person as well. I don't think there's any people in her other books. So I'd have to colour the fish and the coral really tropical, really bright, I think, for this page. That looks like it's her hair winding all the way down. Toadstools. I love colouring toadstools. This actually looks like quite a normal illustration. I can't picture anything, I can't spot anything quirky looking about it. So I'd probably colour this page with an autumnal palette. There's quite a few autumnal pages in here. Melpomeni is really good with those sort of illustrations. Oh, okay, we have a tropical island inside a woven basket. This is very cool. Look at that fiery sun, or this fireball of a planet. It looks as if it's actually racing towards this little tropical island, like it's going to land in the water or something. Now, I've never been to Hawaii, but this is what I picture when I think of Hawaii. We have a hole in our little basket down here, which looks like it's filled with fruit. And we have water pouring out of the holes, or maybe it's wine. It looks like there's little grapes hanging inside there, so maybe it's wine pouring out instead. All right, this illustration is in the shape of a maple leaf, another autumnal style page, perhaps with all of the falling leaves around it. Okay, this page, we've got a giant peacock on a wall in the middle of a galaxy. Now, I wish the feathers weren't so blacked out. It's going to make it a bit hard to colour, to get the colour scheme that you want. I don't know what I could do with these feathers. Yeah, it's just a bit too much black for me, too dark. This might be a page that I might pass on. I like this one. I love how the campfire turns into, is it a clock or is it a weather vane? I think it's a clock. It's a little bit steampunkish with the metal rings. I'm picturing these little metal rings here, and then the rest being sort of see-through with the galaxy. So you can see the galaxy straight through it. Okay, now the candles and the toadstool. This page I absolutely adore. The flames are in the shape of leaves, looks like maples, maybe an oak leaf over here. Then for the bases of the candles, we have toadstools, we've got acorns, and we've got some fruit and vegetables. Is this maybe a pumpkin perhaps? This is a page I can't wait to colour. Oh, this one is opposites. We have the sun and the moon, wolves and bats. This one will be fun to colour in a warm summery palette up the top and a cool or a dark palette down the bottom, so maybe day and night. Now this one might be our next colour along. I absolutely adore this page. I've said that a few times in this book, but maybe this one might be my favourite. This one and the Tree of Life are two of my very favourites in this book. So we've got a locket, which I'm picturing in gold, maybe even a little tarnished as it's hanging off a vine. I love the horse scene, and I think I'd colour that in pretty pinks and yellows and greens, maybe spring type colours. Then we have this island, and I'm not sure if these are meant to be icicles, so maybe some cooler colours for this side of the locket. Okay, we've got an artist's palette with some curious creatures, or maybe they're actually sleeper creatures. I think this would be fun to add in a drip effect off the end of the brushes, or maybe a paint splatter in the background as well. Okay, this looks a little gory actually. We have an eyeball. Here are our top eyelashes and our bottom eyelashes, but the eyeball is also a pool. I mean, look, my first reaction was gory, but you could colour the eyeball / water in blue, and the fish either orange to make it stand right out, or a purple, or a different shade of blue to make it blend in as part of the eye a little bit more. But my brain went straight to blood dripping down. But now that I can see it's a pool as well, maybe it's actually tears. We'll go with tears instead of blood. I guess if you wanted another Halloween image, you could make that gory. Bloodshot eye. Now this is cool. This image is in the shape of an owl. So the owl looks like it's flying through the sky, maybe through some rain clouds, because I don't know if it's raining or if they're shooting stars, or maybe it's a meteor shower. And we've got another little owl up here too. Lots of clouds. Half the page is clouds down the bottom here. So if you colour this background really colourful, you could have the colours bouncing off the top of the clouds as well. Now this one is in the shape of a bow and arrow. Where does Melpomeni come up with all these ideas? Like, who would think to make an illustration out of a bow and arrow? And it looks like the arrow is actually holding this sort of land mass out from falling into the water down below. And we've got a few feathers falling as well. I wonder if these feathers have come from the end of our arrow. An acorn. Okay, so now there is an acorn page that looks very much like this in Circle of Life. That's actually up on my channel as a colour along. It doesn't have the background details. It's just got it's got squirrels in it. I think there's some squirrels on there, and then just this sort of a nature scene inside the acorn. Very much like this one. Got a couple of birds. I'm not sure what kind of birds these are. They look a little bit big to be hummingbirds, but they've got these beautiful long beaks, and their tail feathers from here down are all different types of plants and florals. An hourglass. Now there's also an hourglass in Circle of Life too. This one has snakes wrapping around and ending in these flowers. So the head of the snake is actually a flower. This is a pretty picture. We have trees that are in the shape of birds. We've got some, would you call them sconces? The little fires that are lighting up the wall as well. Okay, again, I don't know how Melpomeni comes up with her ideas. It's just so creative. I absolutely love this chessboard. There's a giant chessboard in Hyde Park in Sydney City, and this picture makes me think of an outdoor chessboard that has been taken over by the surrounding nature after humans have become extinct. Like one of those end of the world movies where all the man-made structures look so pretty, they're abandoned, they're covered with all this greenery. So every other square has some type of floral arrangement, or some cactuses or cacti, sorry, growing on it. Then we have these three angry little tortoises, which I'm assuming are our chess pieces. All right, this at first glance doesn't look as quirky as some of the other pictures, but this bouquet down here reminds me of the stuff I use to cleanse my house, to sage my house. And hang on, I've got a new one here. Let me show you what it looks like, so you can picture what I'm talking about. Now, hopefully this doesn't make a mess everywhere, but this is what I'm talking about. That makes me think of this picture here with all the smoke billowing out and wafting up, and then it turns into the tails of the birds. Now this one here is so intricate and so beautiful. It looks like a beautiful gilded mirror, which you could pass through. Another one that is making me think of some sort of a movie. Like if you stand in front of the mirror, you can see this happening, like the scene is coming alive in this mirror, and you could sort of just jump in straight into it, into this pretty little forest. And like we've seen on many of the pictures in this book, we have these streams of water again coming out of the illustration. That will take a long time to colour, I think, but it's very pretty. And we have our wolf howling at our moon this time. Okay, so that is the end of the book, and we've got this little illustration here to finish it off. So guys, that is Enchanted Earth by Melpomeni Chatzipanagiotou. I think this may have overtaken Circle of Life as my favourite book by Melpomeni. It is definitely on par, at least, if not better. And I'm very happy to see that this book is more in keeping with her original style. It is a bit of a shame that the paper is different though. Let me know what you think down below. I hope you like this video. If so, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you'd like to see as the next colour along from this book, and I will see you in my next video. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.